when we look at text marking, let me show you what I mean here. Here, I'll give you an example from a page, all right? So I'm going to take this page, this is from 1984, all right? So I'm a young buck like you guys, I'm reading this book, so I'm going to, here we go. Well, what I mean to say shows the right spirit, doesn't it? Mischievous little beggars they are, both of them. But talk about keenness, all they think about is the spies and the war, of course. So this, just to put things in context, this guy's talking about his kids, all right? All they think about is the spies and the war, of course. Do you know what that little girl of mine did last Saturday? When her troop was on a hike out Berkhamsted way, she got 2 other girls to go with her, slipped off from the hike, and spent the whole afternoon following a strange man. They kept on his tail for 2 hours right through the woods, and then when they got into Amersham, handed him over to the patrols. What did they do that for? Said Winston, somewhat taken aback. Parsons went on triumphantly. My kid made sure, okay, so I'm going to stop right there, all right? I'm about halfway through the page. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to ask myself, all right, do I know, all right, do I understand that first half of that page? If my answer is yes, great. If it's no, I'm going to go back and reread. All right, I'm going to monitor my reading. Now, if I understood what's going on, I want to make a little note. I mean, obviously, it doesn't have to be a huge note, all right? But you want to make a little note in the margin, and this isn't going to work well. This isn't going to work well because it's hard to write neatly on something like this. But in the margin, I might write something like, Parsons' children turned in a man to the thought police. Pretty much. And then I'm going to continue reading. What happened to the man, said Winston. That I couldn't say, of course, but I wouldn't be altogether surprised if Parson made the motion of aiming a rifle and clicked his tongue for the explosion. Good, said Syme abstractedly without looking up from his strip of paper. Of course, we can't afford to take chances, agreed Winston. So, again, I'm going to read a little bit further. If I know what's going on, maybe I'll make a little note on the bottom or something. All right? Now, it's not a lot, but it should be enough so that you understand and you have a reference on what happened with that page. It also helps you monitor your reading. It also makes it easy to go back to see what they were talking about on that page without reading and hunting and trying to find something. You also might want to do, I don't know, highlight or underline a couple lines of it. That's a horrible highlight. Right. You might want to underline some parts, a few sentences that you think might be important. Circle a word or two that you don't understand or you think is an important word. If you come to a part, even after you reread it, you don't understand it, put a question mark by it. And come back to it. Here's an example. I mean, it might look something like this. All right? See? Oh, wait, it didn't switch. So it might look something like this, all right? This person put, that's not a lot. It's just enough to figure out what went on the page. Look, Then down over here, see they made another little note in the margin. They underlined a couple sentences they thought were important. Look, they put a star next to something they thought was real important. My only criticism of this person's in-text notes are that he or she probably underlined too much. All right? And you guys have probably learned before, like, you know, when you're highlighting important information, if you start highlighting too much, you might as well just put the whole page there. My criticism might be that this person was like you might go a page without having to underline anything. Go ahead, Sydney.
Can I go take my FMP picture?
What's that?
I have to go take a group picture.
Okay, go ahead. Go get that picture. Now, I want you to do this for chapters 1 and chapters 2. For chapter 1 and chapter 2 tomorrow. All right? If you have like something on, if you have a copy on your computer or a copy on your Kindles or whatever, I think you can make notes on them. If you can make notes electronically, and it doesn't have to be actually in the margin, if you can put them off to the side, you can do that. If you can't do that, you don't have a hard copy, you don't have a copy like on your computer or tablet or whatever that you can mark on, I want you to do what we've done before, which are the Cornell notes. All right? The Cornell notes you can use in place of that. All right? So I'll check those for points. And this is just another strategy you might want to use when, you know, reading and trying to comprehend and whatnot. So we have some time. So you could probably get 5 pages of that done, which is 5 pages less than you have to read. Yeah.
I use the restroom.
All right. You should be thanking me. If you missed it, we are reading chapters 1 and 2, part 1 for tomorrow.
Any questions or anything to do?
Yeah. No. Unless you're going to take notes on the margin.
It's not a chapter. What is this? The parts, 3 parts. These are the chapters.
Is there anything specifically taking notes on?
It says,
Did you miss the little English? What you want to do is in the margin of your page, you want to write a short summary of, stop halfway through the page.
Sure. Well, read your book. Get your notebook. Who's down?
I have ABC Club pictures.
It sounds fake. I'm in that one.
Here, I'll show you an example.
I'm in that one too.
Oh.
I'm not using it.
See?
If only I could read it.
Well,
Nah, I do see what you mean now.
yeah. And then if there was something really important, you thought that really stood out, you know.
Okay. I think I can